Hey Playas, how you doing? Welcome back to Playas Guide Retro Gaming. I'm your host Ted, and today I'm going to be talking about some of my favorite retro gaming channels that you might not have heard of, as well as some of my favorite retro channels that I think you should check out, whether you're into retro gaming or not. First channel I want to talk about is Do You Even 80s Bro. These guys stream on Playas Guide every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, and you got to check out what they're doing. Now, when I found this channel, they didn't really have that big of a following, and I thought that what they were doing was so underrated. And I asked them, hey, do you want to come and be a part of Playas Guide and what we're doing, where we're trying to get a bunch of smaller streamers that, feel that they have the quality of some of the bigger channels, we just can't stream as often. And they decided to join the team, and that's why they're streaming there. But they also have their own YouTube channel, separate from Playas Guide, where you could catch a lot of the different content that they put out and discussions and some of the stuff that was previously streamed on the channel. They also have a podcast, which I like to listen to, and a website called Retro Squat. Now, all of this is going to be linked in the description below for you to check out, but these guys are awesome. They talk about not just retro games, but movies and music, TV shows, cartoon shows, action figures and toys, all of this stuff from the 80s and even a bit of the early 90s. So if you're nostalgic in any way for movies or music, toys, or games from that time period like I am, you're really going to enjoy their content, so please check them out. Next up, I'm also going to shout out a former streamer on Playas Guide. He also does stream on Twitch from time to time, and I'll put a link to that and his YouTube below. A link for everybody below that I'm talking about. That's D-Pad Danny. So D-Pad Danny does reviews. And I'll tell you, I'm not so much into reviews as much as some of the other videos I watch on YouTube, but something about his reviews has this I don't know what it is. It's like an older style of covering video games on YouTube, and I really like it because it takes me back to the days when I first started watching retro gaming content on YouTube. And that's what it reminds me of, and it appeals to me a lot because of that. So if you're looking for something that is a more, maybe traditional style of review for retro games that's still entertaining and engaging, then you're going to want to check out D-Pad Danny. He's talked about a lot of different games that I've liked and a lot of different topics. He also does some other random videos that are interesting too. Someone else that I know personally is RonMan Gaming, and he's doing something very similar to this too, but he also offers an opinion on a lot of games, his own personal opinion, and a ranking system at the end of every game that he talks about. Now, the most recent video that I saw of his was one where he was talking about a Find It book for Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, this is something you're probably not going to find another person covering anywhere on the internet, so I really like that he does some different and obscure stuff, and he's not afraid to just go off the cuff with some random content. But if you're looking for some reviews, he's got you covered there too, with, like I said, a 1 to 10 ranking system, and you could kind of gauge where the game falls there because he gives you an honest opinion. Another guy I want to talk about is Pac-Man Case. Now, out of all the people here, he might have the biggest following, but I found out about his channel because he shouted me out in one of his videos, and when I found out what he was doing, I was really impressed. The quality of this guy's videos, he really puts a lot of time and effort and passion into what he's doing, and you can tell his videos stand out, and I think that Pac-Man Case is going to be one of the next big retro gaming YouTubers out there. Now, he's not huge or anything yet, so go over to his channel, check out his content if you're not familiar with it already, and give him a follow. You won't be disappointed. Something that I really never watch on YouTube is pickups videos. I don't like them. But there is one YouTuber that does an amazing job and is highly entertaining at doing pickups videos, and I watch every single episode, and that's Back in the Day Gamer. So he gets a lot of different games in the mail and different knickknacks and things he picks up off eBay. But this guy's personality is, it really shines through as the content. That's what you're tuning in for. You're tuning in for Back in the Day Gamer. He's very personable, and he just has this, excitement and almost eccentric personality where you could tell how interested and excited he is for the different things that he picks up. And he gets a lot of stuff from his video games monthly. But he's fun to watch. He's just very fun to watch. He's not just saying, hey, here's a box of games that I got. He's talking about the games, and he's talking about whether they're studs or duds. Really entertaining guy. So a channel that I think is really underrated, and I'm not a big Xbox guy, but I am kind of becoming more of a fan of the original Xbox. And one of the reasons why that is because of the channel Xboxer Briefs. Now, this is a guy named Musty Hobbit. You might be familiar with him. He's done some other content on YouTube in the past. He's also streams on Twitch. I haven't seen him streaming as much, but I'll still put a link for his Twitch below, because I think you should follow him when he does stream. He has some pretty good quality streams himself. But what he's putting out is, I don't know what it is. It's just the way he does it. These reviews for these Xbox games are so well put together and thought out. And the way that they're depicted through his videos, I find very relatable and very accurate and very entertaining. And it's also done in a way it kind of throws back to the time of these games when they were new. So even though it's a retro review, it's in many ways so relevant to today, and would have been relevant back then as well. In fact, I would think that the content he's putting out would have actually been featured on a television show for gamers if it was out back then when the Xbox was the current gen console. So go check out Xboxer Briefs. If you're an Xbox fan, you're going to love this channel. I don't think you're going to be disappointed at all, even if you're not a big fan of the Xbox. You might become one. I know it's turned me into a bigger fan of Xbox. Also, the price of a lot of these Xbox games, if one catches your eye that's interesting, I've picked up a few for under $10, shipping included, off eBay because of this channel. So some other channels, they're bigger channels, and they talk about different retro things, not retro gaming related per se, but I enjoy watching these channels, even though, it's not something that's necessarily a personal interest or a community that I'm active in. So let's start off with the biggest one. You've probably heard of this channel, New Retro Wave, and they put out a new song almost every day, and the stuff is great quality. I love it. I listen to the music a lot, and I'll play some of the stuff before some of my streams on Twitch. But I'm always finding cool, new, unique songs that it's called New Retro Wave because it's like new wave, but they're calling it retro wave because it sounds like older music that you might hear at the opening credits of a movie from the 80s or something. And I love it, man. Just some of the ambiance and the mood and tone that some of these songs really set. There's something for everybody, and I'm sure you'll find something on this channel that you'll enjoy. Next up is a channel called Retrontario. So I'm in Ontario, Canada. You don't have to be from Ontario, Canada, though, to appreciate this channel. They also cover a lot of stuff from New York State. And not just that, just old commercials in general. You can find a lot of the commercials and different things like that from the 80s on Retrontario. So I would recommend checking it out. It's a really neat channel, and the way that all this stuff is being archived and preserved, I think it's great, and I hope that they keep doing it. Next is Ace's Adventures. So Ace's Adventures is a guy named Anthony, and he goes around to different dead malls that are dying or malls that are basically abandoned, and he does a tour of them, and he matches it up really well with some of that like retro wave music. And I've noticed over the short time that I have been following, I haven't been following him for the full 5 years the channel has been around. I recently discovered it because he did a mini documentary on Kmart that I thought was really interesting and informative. This just the way that the production quality it continues to escalate and get better and better really impresses me, and I think you're going to enjoy the content that he's putting out. It may take you back. I know he's done even a mall that was recently shut down and demolished, not too far from where I live. Laura Legends is a lady from Vancouver who talks about toys, and she's very passionate about toys that she talks about, and I'm able to learn something about different toys that I still have from my childhood, or I did at one time have from my childhood. Now, do you even 80s bro dabbers in this a little bit too, but Laura Legends is more specifically geared towards these old toys. Now, I'm not a toy collector, but for whatever reason, these videos interest me, and I like to look back at these different, toys, these relics that I used to play with as a child. If you're a fan of retro gaming and a video game collector, you're going to want to give Playas Guide a follow. I don't think you'll be disappointed with this channel because that's what I specifically cover, but I have been branching off to a few different videos as well. And if you're looking for the highest quality in retro video game entertainment, follow Playas Guide on Twitch as well. I mentioned a few people that are part of or were part of the Playas Guide stream team, and we're working on content every day of the week. So there's a live stream every evening for you to watch. You can also find Playas Guide on Twitter and Instagram. And if you're looking for a fun social community to discuss retro things in, or just video games in general, then join the Playas Guide Discord linked below. That's it for this episode of Playas Guide. Later, Playas.